And we're back with another episode of the Lakers Fast Break podcast. Didn't expect it till about I looked at my text about what 8:45 ish. I'm like, Gerald, want to go do a show at 9? All right. I wanted to play some Avowed, but I'll have to do that later. All right, because I got to have Super BS Games Cast. I got to let them know how it is. So I'll do that later on and go do that overnight. Looking forward to it. But it is, of course, the Lakers Fast Break. It is, of course, Gerald Glassford, along with Joe Soro. Don't forget to go ahead and like and subscribe to all of our good stuff that we do out there, including, of course, all the post-game stuff we do, the playback.tv/Lakers Fast Break stuff we do, all the stuff that you're asking for. You guys wanted more Joe tonight, so we give you more Joe tonight. But we've actually got a good reason to go ahead and come on because we still sense a little bit of resentment. We still sense a little bit of denial, of questioning, of dissatisfaction, the fact that the Lakers traded and got Luka Doncic on their team. We still sense it. We still see it in our chat each and every day. We still see it out and about. And we're here to talk about it because what is the future for the Lakers and Luka Doncic? That we'll talk about today. But please go ahead, like and subscribe. Blue's got it right there for you. He is happy that Joe is coming at you. You should be happy too. So hopefully you will be out there liking and subscribing. And don't forget to become a member today for just $2.99 a month. I've been throwing up videos that you got first looks at in the past few days. Got you Jamie's 5 things. If you're not really wanted to go to Lakerholics.com, I bring it to you. Bring all that good stuff right there if you're a member today for the Lakers Fast Break. All right, so we're going to get into it with Luka Doncic because he's still a lightning rod for conversation. And here today to go ahead and do just that is my good friend indeed. He is a man who needs no explanation at all. Just listen to him talk. He is, of course, a guy with an absolutely fantastic shirt on. It is, of course, Joe Soro, a.k.a. Mr. Simblades, Simblades with a Y.com, and his game. You have got to get his game at Steam. It is Corrupt, C-O-R-E-U-P-T. I know long ago that there was somebody on Anchor. I don't know how many times, Joe, I have said C-O-R-E-U-P-T. And he said he couldn't find your game, like it was weeks ago. He couldn't find your games on Steam. And I'm like, it's in the description. I put it in the description every time. And I say it, C-O-R-E-U-P-T. I don't know how much simpler it can be for that, Joe.
Marketing is everything. And we do have a limited budget being an indie, but that's going to be, that was always the process of ramping up the marketing dollars as we release, just so people can know that this is real. A lot of times indie games don't come out, or they don't come out the way they probably should. And even though we kind of don't feel that way still, it's still out there and exists. And there will be advancements as well that are still in the works. But there is a high priority right now in getting more marketing to the game so that it can have its best chance of being a success, to the point where this will be a primary type business venture for us. It's a niche market. We know fighting games are a niche market. It's not a side scroll pixel art children's game. It can be. It's definitely a PG type game. It's not a pull your spine out and show it to you before you deliver the final blow like Mortal Kombat. But we have had offers and we have turned them down because the same thing rears its head. And Gerald knows that the industry is in major flux. Very, very scared people in terms of investing correctly, making the right deals. And I don't even know if they really did make good deals, even when it was doing well. And we're pretty stubborn. We are not in a hurry. We are not struggling in terms of our lives. We are willing to wait for the right deal. or what makes sense till it becomes something that makes sense, and that's pretty much how it's going to be. And there's nothing that can stop it. We do believe this is going to be something that will be popular, and it's got to have a chance to make it. Otherwise, we're going to be just like all the other people that are on the chopping block that are being chopped off every week, it seems, these days.
So with that, my friend, we're here. We're back on tonight because you and I have been getting a lot of stuff as far as from the comments that are made by our regulars, not so regulars, random drive-bys, whatever you want to say, in regards to the audience that's out there about Luka Doncic. Some really love it. Some see as we do about it. And there are others who are still yet to climb on the Luka train. And I understand that. And I respect that. But the denial is going to continue on for quite some time with some of these individuals that are out there. I'm not going to name any specific names, but if you just check our chats, you'll understand who they are. And if that's the case, there are a lot of people out there still that are in denial as well about what's going on with Luka Doncic. So if that's the case, while I go ahead and send Jeff this link to hopefully get him on the show, share us your thoughts on why you want to do a show tonight, because the future for the Lakers, seemingly on the surface, should be bright for one Luka Doncic and the Lakers.
Yeah, it's an idea I thought of right after your show with Legend and Esmond.
And Alfred Esmond, yes.
I like his last name.
Absolutely great guys.
I like his last name, so I call him Esmond.
There you go.
There seems to be some kind of paranoia about what no one knows, apparently. There's still a lot of mystery that's tied around Luka and management in Dallas. Dallas has done a couple things that have kind of taken the forefront in why. Because this is an unprecedented thing, and it's really no one's fault. Even if you think certain things that are not necessarily in the favor of Laker fandom or Laker future, it makes sense. Like, what is really going on? Because you never see this kind of trade for a 25-year-old who's already a star and could be bigger. What is it? It gives you that jaded, cynical thought of, is he got a debilitating injury that no one's talking about? Is he really that bad behind the scenes that we don't know about? So these are things we're going to talk about tonight. We're not going to know the full answer yet. We probably never will know the full answer, but the results, and you know how we are with results on this show, the results will dictate whether it matters or not. Now, looking at it from most of our perspective here on the show, most of us here at the Lakers Fast Break, it doesn't matter why. Because the Laker organization was looking like they were preparing to have to set their future according to the current culture that's been created by the NBA, the Players Association, and the owners, which is they are going to make it even harder than it's been before to make things like this happen, to allow yourself to get a player like this that could change your franchise in just one full swoop. And that is exactly what happened here. I have to continue to repeat this, and I will. Barring injury, this will be one of, if not the greatest trade that the Lakers have ever done. That's what's at stake here. That's what the future will be, and that is something very, very positive, because Luka Doncic is that good. And if you have an issue with his defense, if you have an issue with his attitude or his health, there's, I guess, legitimate reasons, because we still haven't really gone through a process here with Luka. We've only watched him play a few games, and there is some word now. I don't know if they're true, but the minutes restrictions are going to start coming off here. Did you hear that, Gerald?
There's well, the official report is okay because Doobie was out there in our audience last show saying that the minutes restriction is off. That's incorrect. He is going to have minutes restriction for one more game. Was the exact quote that JJ said from ESPN's Dave McMenamin at today's practice. He's going to have one more game with minutes restriction, and then they will see how it goes. But they are likely leaning off of that for Thursday's game and beyond. But no definitive word on removing the minutes restriction, but it is forthcoming in the not too distant future. But the official word is, and I want to get this right. Doobie seemed pissed off, because he gave us well, it's just one game. We have to be right. We want to give you the correct information. If we're wrong, we have to get it correct for you guys. We are now a source for information for many people, both audio and video. So to get this exactly right, according to JJ, the quote is that he's on minutes restriction for tomorrow. And then after that, they will evaluate it, but most likely get him off that at that point in time. But again, it's not definite for Thursday's game and beyond yet.
So what did Doobie say exactly?
He said that the minutes restriction was done. It was gone. And no, it's not. It's actually there for one more game at the very least.
Okay. Okay, makes sense. I had commented on the last show that I'm tired of the lower end teams like Charlotte, and even though Portland's playing a little bit better lately, this team needs to start playing the good teams, and they are going to start playing the good teams after the Portland game. Denver is going to be a big test for this team, and 30 games is not a lot. I find it. I can't remember. It seems like after the All-Star break, the games are getting lesser and lesser. Is that just me, or is that really happening? Wasn't there a time where it was more 60-40? Maybe not 60-40, but like they played 52 games this year, and there's 30 games left after the All-Star break. Wasn't like 35-40 usually after the All-Star break?
Yeah, it was closer to a split. It was closer back in the day to a split. Not exactly half-half, Joe, but you know what I'm saying.
Right. But I feel like this might be a good thing in that 52 games is a lot. And you have 30 left with this nice little break, and you obviously have a different roster here than what you played with most of the season. We have to be realistic in that this might take a minute for them to coexist, but it's a lot easier to coexist when you have someone like Luka who you kind of know what he's good at and can adapt much quicker than most because of his style of play, and of course LeBron being who he is as well. I want to get this across more for later, and also kind of maybe ease some nerves here for some of our chat room people. The worry that you have, I'm confused at the worry. Like, is it doesn't necessarily matter in the end, and I want to make this very clear. It doesn't matter if this works out or not. At worst case. Why? Because let's say Luka doesn't make it. Let's say something happens. God forbid. This deal with Anthony Davis would have eventually had to have happened. And the longer Anthony Davis plays for the Lakers, the less his value is. So if they had waited, let's say, after the 2027 season to trade him, wouldn't have fetched a lot. Every offseason, he fetches less. The Lakers had to make something happen here so that they don't fall into some pit like they did after Kobe retired. And in a lot of ways, that setup wasn't really their fault in a lot of ways, but it was because they just didn't prepare. They You could say they didn't anticipate Kobe blowing out his Achilles, but I don't know necessarily if that's true because I've used the comparison to Troy Polamalu a lot and Kobe Bryant. I had said this for years. It kind of reminded me of Tom Brady's pops when he would talk about Brady's eventual end in New England. Brady's dad, 10 years before Brady left New England, was said that it's not going to end well in New England. He knew. He knew who was there. He was a very smart man, right? And I said for years, I said, Polamalu isn't going to make it that long. You'll be surprised if he makes it 10 years because of the ferociousness of his play. Kobe's the same way. Now, basketball is a little less taxing than football, but any smart Laker fan knew Kobe was going to end up getting busted at the end. Something was going to blow out. Was he? Because that's how he is. He goes through the wall. And if you keep going through that wall, you're eventually going to break something. And he did. The Lakers didn't prepare for that. This time, they got on it. This time, they got on it. Way before we even thought they could. And to put Laker fans at ease, it doesn't matter in the end if this works out or not. The Lakers did something now that'll eventually work out one way or the other. Even if Luka didn't work out, which is just not going to happen. I just don't see it unless there's a major injury. So you have to look at it from that perspective too. The Lakers were not going to win a championship with Anthony Davis and LeBron James as the pillar of this team. Those days were gone. I'm sorry, but they were. And they weren't going to be able to bring in anybody this summer to change that, even if they didn't win it this year. There's just not enough resources. So that's something you need to put in your memory bank and understand. That's worst case. Now, the best case is we have our version of Larry Bird at the point guard position. Because this guy does things that not a lot of people can do. He's clutch. He loves to win, and he's obsessed. And I'm not gonna put a stamp on this with Dallas. This is complete speculation on my part because I've been around certain people in my life that are well off. These new owners. Guys that work in the gambling world, whatever. Doesn't matter really the gambling world, just people around a lot of money. And I say gambling because I have a lot of friends that work in the casinos. So you kind of know the personalities who run things in that world. You have an alpha male. Jeff, you and I can relate to that, right? We're alpha males in our world, right? You know that. Gerald, I don't know if you are. I think you're kind of a nice guy, but let's say you are too. When you're an alpha male and you've got leverage like Luka probably had in Dallas, and you all see the fans, it's not a joke. That's real. Egos can sometimes get in and go, oh, so you think you're Luka Doncic and you think you run this thing, huh? Oh, you think you can get $350 million of our money. These guys are not Mark Cuban. These guys are not sports people. These are what I call jerk-offs in my side of things. The rich jerk-offs. I see them almost every week. The guys that look down on you because you're not them. Until they find out that you might be a threat, then you really see who they are. If you're very observant, you'll see it. So I'm under the assumption that it's something like that. And Nico Harrison is essentially Roger Goodell of his team. Roger Goodell, even though he's a piece of shit, the owners have made a good deal. That's why he gets paid so much money to take the bullets for the owners. That's how that works. And Nico's taking the bullet. So
I will say this, though. It's great to have him here. It is, of course, Empire Jeff from Empire Jeff TV. Go ahead and like and subscribe today. Empire Jeff, Great to have you here, my friend, discussing Luka, who is still a source of uh, pride and jubilation for some on this channel, as far as our audience is concerned, and for others, a sign of consternation that we gave up AD. Max Christie, who I guess has been elevated to NBA All Star, if you talk to some people right now. Again, it is what it is. I've still got questions that we're going to hit up for the chat. Chat, we got you covered. I know that Robert Wheeler has the standard question of the day. I got to go ahead and make sure you guys get to it. We'll get to it in a little bit. Parade on Figueroa, Twitch as well. But let's hear Empire Jeff's opening thoughts on the whole Luka Doncic thing. Today in practice, he looked happy. He looked a little bit more fit. He's putting up half-court shots and winning the competition between him and LeBron. Things are looking a little bit better. Camaraderie's getting a little bit closer. I think people need to start opening up and realizing that this is a thing that, quite frankly, can work out in the end for the Lakers and Luka Doncic, Jeff.
Yeah, I mean, Jared, I think people are still in shock, to be honest with you. I still kind of am. You know what I mean? So when the dust settles, it's going to kind of look back and see and remember how quickly and out of nowhere this came together. And it's almost like it almost feels like a tragedy, but it's not. You know what I mean? Because it came out of nowhere. There was no preparation. It was just boom, it's here. And to process it and being as we just had a rescinded trade, we've been through rescinded trades before. And the process of, okay, the trade is done, not thinking it's real, then finding out it's real, then hearing all the back stories to it all. There's just a lot of information and a lot of kind of juggling going on. The Heat in Dallas, the typical jump off a building for no reason Laker fan. You know, we have that portion of Laker Nation who just AD has a great game. He's in the Hall of Fame. The next game, he has a bad game and trade him. You know what I mean? There's different levels to Laker fandom. There's different pockets of them. The ones that don't see Luka fitting, contributing, working on this team. I don't understand that train of thought. I can almost align with understanding maybe you have concerns for this year. I heard you guys talking 30-something games left. He hadn't played since Christmas. He looked better today. Is he going to stay healthy? Does he need a full offseason? Does he need to get with this Laker training staff? Like I think we'll probably see the best of Luka starting next year on. But I'll tell you what, 60% of Luka is better than most players still in this league. And even if we get 75% of Luka, and that 75% of Luka means we get a better LeBron because Luka's better and can take the pressure off LeBron. I think there's some things that can definitely work out there, especially when you got wing defenders and the way the team is playing, the way the team is defending, the way JJ is coaching, and the way his creativity could potentially open things up for this team. Now, I missed the beginning part of this, so I'm kind of going to spitball a little bit, or I may have to ask a couple of questions. But what people are pushing back on the trade? They're not happy, or some of the people you're saying, or what is the main?
Oh yeah, there's still quite a bit of discontent amongst, in fact, some viewers now that are watching as we speak are not big fans of Luka, not big fans of Luka joining the Lakers. Still sad about losing AD. Still sad about losing Max Christie. Again, he's also been elevated to deity status in some people's eyes. From what I've been seeing, it's been incredible the way that the guy has been, just absolutely prop. Did you see what he did? Did you see what he did? He's a rotational player, could turn out to be a pretty good one. And I'm wishing him great success. But come on, you have a chance to get one of the top 5 players in the league. You do what you need to do. And I'll leave it at that.
And what's the rule of every trade? Who gets the best player wins the trade. We got the best player. We got the best player now. We got the best player for the next 10 years. Max Christie will definitely be the least talented player in this trade. I do like what I'm seeing from Max, but to the level that I've been one that said, like, I wasn't as low on him as much as most people were. I'm also not as high on him now as most people are. To me, Max has always been the same. Give him opportunity, give him proper structure, give him a proper head coach. And I think Max can be a starter in this league, but Max is Max. He's going to be he has to, improve overall defensively. His offense is coming around. He's a good ball player. He's a good player. I take him on my team 10 times out of 10. But you get an AD, an older AD, an 8 by the time this contract is done. I agree with what Joe said there. the way it kind of seems is it kind of feels like the Lakers were kind of open to doing something with AD when they signed him to that extension, right? They took care of him, they got it done. And it's kind of funny because Joe was talking about Nico Harrison being the fall guy for Dallas over there, and what they got going on, and he's spot on with that. This new ownership group over there does not have the pulse of the city, and they don't care. They're operating as if they're like some type of oil tycoon in Dallas. It's got 150-year roots out there. They got to be careful. They're playing with fire. But outside of that, you got Nico, who's public enemy number one for taking all the heat and all the bullets for his organization. And who did he do a deal with? The guy on the other side who does the same damn thing, right? Taking all the heat, all the bullets for Laker Nation. So those two relationship got that done. And I mean, Gerald, Joe, if Dallas called, if any team in the NBA had AD and Max Christie on their team, and Nico Harrison called any one of them, 29 of the NBA teams are making that deal. Every single team is making that deal. Every GM is making that deal, and they don't care what the roster looks like. They don't care what the fit looks like. You got a chance to get Luka Doncic at 25 years old, signed somewhat long-term, extension eligible. I mean, just the star power alone. There's just no way you turn down that trade. I don't see why anyone could be down on the trade. You got a top, at worst. What do you guys have him ranked? I have him at worst top 5 in the league. That's at worst. I think he's top 3. And when he's healthy, you could argue he's 1 or 2, 1A, 1B, whatever you want to put it at. He's right there. So if anyone who's unhappy with it, these are probably those people who can win $20 million lottery ticket and be upset they didn't win $25 million. And outside of that, give me Luka 10 times out of 10 in this deal.
So I bring you now some questions, and once again, it's the Lakers Fast Break. It is Empire Jeff from Empire Jeff TV. Go ahead and check him out today on YouTube or wherever you get your podcasts, along with Joe Soro and me, Gerald Glassford. Thanks again for watching this thing. I'm trying to scroll up to Robert's question for you of the day, Joe. So we'll start off with Robert's question, and Parade on Figueroa, I got yours next coming up. The question from Robert is in regards to LeBron taking some time off during the All-Star break. Now, again, we talked about the semantics, how it looked, what he should have done, what he should have done, how it was, should he have done it sooner, gotten another player in there, et cetera, et cetera. Okay, we talked about that on last night's show. That aside, Robert, to paraphrase what his question is, because again, I have so many questions coming up here. Do you think LeBron sat out in the All-Star game because he knows he legitimately has a chance to win a chip with Luka this year and wants to save all of his energy for the Lakers? Or could his foot just have been sore? I don't know.
Sorry, Aaron made me laugh. That's a good one. I'll get to you on that one, Aaron. I got some good returns on that one. Gerald will appreciate it. LeBron James doesn't care about anything but LeBron James. You know this. He should have played a few minutes and then not played again. It's happened before. We've seen it happen with Kobe. And then you start to look at the product that was on the court. I don't think that had anything to do with it. I think that would be a fake cop-out in a lot of ways. Oh, well, I saw what was going on. I didn't want to participate. No. Unfortunately, looking at this from an observant area, it's one of the reasons why this game continues to disintegrate. Yet people vote for you to go perform for them, and you guys don't show up. You don't care. You don't care to market the game. You've gotten your money. You make more money than anyone has ever made in the history of the NBA. And yet your entitlement continues to grow, and you're not giving a shit continues to grow. In times where we want guys to care more. You know who cared? Victor Wembanyama cared. He was trying his ass off, and all people could talk about is Jokic laughing at him because he reads books before the game. And that's a you issue. You, the audience, created this. You created it because you keep watching someone who's not funny in Kevin Hart You keep watching Charles Barkley and Shaquille O'Neal. Shaquille's cool, guys. I don't have anything against Shaquille, but they're clowns. There's not a lot of substance behind their buffoonery. They're just clowns. That's how they get you there. Well, when you continue to support clowns and a circus, you're going to continue to get the circus. And I'm sorry, even when I was a kid, I didn't like circus. I didn't like the circus. I didn't.
Didn't like bearded ladies, Joe.
No bearded ladies, no one-legged men, no trapeze, no
little people.
I mean, I did like
he liked the clown car. I bet you like the clown car.
I did like Pee Wee Herman's Big Top Pee Wee when I was a kid, but that was because Pee Wee was in it. The circus moves for a reason, folks. The circus moves for a reason. The reason why the circus doesn't play in the same spot over and over again is because it gets stale. But let's just say they don't get stale. Let's say there's regular people just continue to watch the circus. Well, after a while, how many more tricks can you do? How many more flips can you do before it starts to get stale? Well, folks, you're getting the results here. This is supposed to be a game where the best players play against each other so you can see who's the man. But they don't care. There's no pride there. There's no anything. They've all become a bunch of Kevin Durants. Kevin Durant hates life. And it's because of decisions he's made and because he cares about what strangers think, which is your biggest mistake on this planet. And almost everyone I know in my life cares. Those who think they don't, do. There's very, very few people that really, really don't care about what anyone thinks about them. Because self-esteem, insecurities, and all that come into play. And it part of our discussion tonight is about that. You're getting caught up with your thoughts because, I don't know, Dallas is kind of doing a smear campaign on this. There was a smear campaign, too, for Shaquille O'Neal in 1996, folks. I know some of you might have not been born by then. I know some of you might have been young. But I'm gonna paint it. And this is right at the beginning of the popularity of the internet. So you didn't have a lot of information either. It was just at the beginning. I always pinpoint that year as when the internet really started to become what it eventually became, which was an informational, right away, and detailed updates. Right. So Shaquille O'Neal, they had a poll in the Orlando Sentinel.
Dumbasses.
Right?
So stupid.
Does Shaquille O'Neal, and folks, you got to understand the times too. $100 million contracts, that wasn't like the norm like it is now, 200, 300, 500, 800, whatever. Shaq had just got swept by the Bulls. So there's a lot of sourness with that. And there was a poll in the Orlando Sentinel whether Shaq deserved this whatever money. I think it was 90 mil. I think they put on there.
I think it was like 95 mil.
Yeah. Apparently the poll had a higher no than a yes. Orlando fans, whoever voted for it, you got to look in the mirror. You were the culprits there. And I'm sure management in Orlando, I didn't know too much about how they ran things there. I know who Pat Williams was, the owner. Very nice man, by the way. Adopted a bunch of kids, changed people's lives. God rest his soul. Was a great man. Absolutely dynamite.
John Gabriel, I think, was the GM there at the time.
John Gabriel, again, I hope he's doing well. I think he's got Parkinson's. But they blue balled themselves. Pardon the pun, since they're Orlando, right? And Mr. Clutch. Why is Jerry West Mr. Clutch, folks? Why? He's in a hotel room talking to Shaquille O'Neal. I'm sure he was saying some of this stuff to him. Hey, man, I don't got 150 for you, but I got 120. It was technically 121, by the way. That extra $1 million, huh? And Mr. Clutch hit the game-winning shot. And then, of course, what happened? What happened after that? Smear campaign. After the Shaquille smear campaign, but it was kind of premeditated to kind of lessen his worth, right? Now, after Shaquille signs with the Lakers, now Jerry West is being accused of tampering.
Mm-hmm.
So, folks, this is what they call politics. Be careful of that kind of stuff. Be careful. It can warp your mind. Focus on what is. Focus on what is. The Lakers are the premier franchise in all of basketball, no matter what's going on. Even if some of us had lost focus of it, and we did. I did. I'll admit it. But
I sure did.
right. But what did Jeannie and Rob do? They pretty much walked us into a room like Joe Pesci in Goodfellas, and we saw Luka sitting there, and we said, "What?" And then got shot in the head. Right? No, I'm just kidding. Hope I didn't ruin the movie for you guys. And now you're all worried. Oh, is Luka too out of shape? Is Luka have a drinking problem? Is Luka going to play defense? And then as soon as you start solving those questions, Jeff and Gerald, then they start talking about the NBA Finals and how he got smoked in the NBA Finals. And then I go back into my memory. I'm like, what do you mean he got smoked in the NBA Finals?
Yeah.
Gerald, I'm sorry, Jeff, tell the crowd.
he was cooking in the NBA Finals.
Let me connect it to you, and you tell them about what I just segued into. Go ahead.
Yeah, I mean, they talk about he got cooked in the NBA Finals, man. But at the end of the day, that Dallas Mavericks team probably shouldn't have ever ended up in the NBA Finals. But they did. They got there, and Luka was doing his thing, man. Luka was hooping. The problem is they just ran into a better team that year. But if you look at the whole pathway of how Luka got that team to the NBA Finals, like it's just we can load this up right here, Joe. I'm going to pull this up real quick. Give me a second here, because the whole Luka slander thing, and you hit it on the head right there when it comes down to that buyer's remorse. You have teams who have buyer's remorse when they get someone, all of a sudden regret it. Then you got someone who got rid of someone and they're like, how are we going to sell this to the public? How are we going to sell this, right? You see this with businesses all the time, or when they do something like that, when they're going to remove someone from something, and then all of a sudden that person's been removed, and it's like you're facing backlash. There has to be a reason why. So, sorry, give me 1 second. Let me load this up. But when that happens, it's doesn't usually go well for the team that does it. Like you said, Luka, this is crazy. Just hold on. Let me load this up real quick. So we had, why is this loading up here? So Luka, this is in the NBA Finals where he's getting roasted. First of all, Luka has scored 600 something. Let me see here. There we go. Yeah, he's averaging like 30 points a game in that series, right? So 29.2 points per game, 8 rebounds, 5 assists, 2 steals for a guy that doesn't play defense, quote unquote, right? He was hooping. Like the problem is he had no one else average above 20. Even Laker Nation is favorite non-son who they drool over every year, Kyrie Irving, cannot hoop against Boston. That was the problem. Kyrie can't play against Boston ever since he left Boston. But Luka averaged 30 points a game, Joe, with 8 rebounds and almost 6 assists. And because his counterparts did not step up and didn't do anything, they lost the series because they just didn't have enough. But outside of that, I don't understand what else Luka could have done in that series. His teammates just didn't show up, Joe. Didn't show up at all.
There's an archive show or two where we discussed, so you can't sit there and say, oh, you're trying to make, post excuses on this because now you guys have Luka. There is archive shows, folks, on YouTube. You can go check it out. I don't know what shows they are, but they're there, where we dog on Kyrie. I know I did. Mm-hmm. Kyrie played like dog shit all 5 games. Luka in game 2 in Boston dropped a 32, 11, and 11 game. He was on an island by himself, and Kyrie didn't do shit in that game. We scored 16 points, but they were the most useless 16 points you could probably have in a game of that magnitude. If he had just showed up, 80% of Kyrie, they would have won that game, and that series might have changed.
Mhm.
But I'm not going to sit here and use excuses for what happened in Dallas last year. I don't give a shit about Dallas. I don't give two shits or one shit about Dallas. Fuck Dallas, okay? And fuck management there. Fuck the ownership. I don't care about that. This is about Luka
Watch when you
Doncic.
get to the airport at DFA.
This is about Luka Doncic and the LA Lakers and the future, okay? Consider yourself a Laker. If you're a Laker fan, consider yourself lucky. Okay, lucky again that they just extended a 10-year window on a championship run. When you have Luka Doncic as your guy, you're always going to be in some kind of title contention.
Joe, just to take this even further, for his career, Luka is averaging 31 points per game in the playoffs, shooting 35% from three, shooting 53% effective field goal percentage in the playoffs. 50 games in the NBA playoffs, so that's got statistical validity there, right? 50 games, and he's averaging 31 points a game in the playoffs. All right, so that he averaged 29 in the playoffs last season. So I don't understand where people like his teammates have been. Like I said, they got Kyrie to quote unquote get Luka over that hump or to get there. Just Kyrie is just, it was the wrong team for him to face. He has not been able to, you said lucky, he hasn't been able to play Boston since he stepped on Lucky at half court. He's been ass against them ever since. And Kyrie going into that series, we knew like, oh, Kyrie can't play against Boston. They're cooked. He can't play against Boston. But Luka gave us all. Like you said, game 2 was a story in and of itself. But I mean, just think of these moments, man. Just think of that dagger 3 against the Clippers in the bubble, right? Think of these shots that he hits in playoff games. These just murderous shots that kill team momentum. Like this, look what he did. Who they beat? That they beat what OKC and Minnesota, right? Last year.
Yep.
I mean, he went through and SGA to get to the finals, and Kyrie wet the bed.
But you're seeing though, but to be a little bit contrarian, although I agree with you 100%, you see in our chat, Nick is trying to point out, well, he only shoots 35% from 3. Well, he only shot 27% from 3 in the finals. Well, he did this. Well, he did that. Well, he did this. There are other individuals say, well, he did this. Well, he did this. Again, there are people who will not at all cooperate or even understand how much of a gift this is for the Lakers organization to get a chance to get one of the best players on the planet and be able to now to still build long term, Jeff.
Yeah, no, I get it. He had a struggle in that, and from shooting from 3 in that series. And you know why he had a struggle shooting from 3 in that series? Is because Boston knew they can double up on him. They could throw everything they had at him because Kyrie wasn't reliable, right? Like I said, I just told you, he shot 35% for his career in the playoffs. So I understand what happened in last year's series, but he wasn't equipped because his guy didn't show up. So when that happened, start looking at look, like I'm telling you, look at some of the greats when they go into as the playoffs increase and you go up against more top tier teams and your supporting cast doesn't show up and you're a one-man army. What happens? Legs start getting tired, shots start front rimming, you're pressing, you're forcing shots, you're forcing action, your timeout, you're out of your normal rotation because they need you on the floor more. Like everything is out of whack at that point, and he still dropped 30 a game. So percentages, I get it. Boston was a very good defensive team last year. His wingman didn't show up to the party. Cost him, 8% on percentage. I get it. He scored enough. Team wasn't equipped. And, you get him someone who comes to battle with him, and who knows what happens in that series. But it's a fair statement, 27%. It is what it is. But when you break down the situation, and like what Joe said, when you watch the games, when you see what's going on, when you watch his teammates in that series, look at his teammates round 1, 2, and 3, and then look at his teammates in the finals. That's pretty much the design of what happened to Luka in the finals.
And I'll say this again. I appreciate everyone joining us. It is Lakers Fast Break with Empire Jeff TV and Joe Soro. Truly appreciate you joining me, Gerald Glassford. Again, thank you so for joining us. But I wanted to go ahead and talk about what Sharon had said, and then we'll get at what Parade on Figueroa said on Twitch. I haven't forgotten about you, Parade, and I appreciate you watching on Twitch. But Sharon says, I'm happy with a really good team with a respectful playoffs run. And she said this pre-trade with AD, and my AD will probably get into him because that's the second question from Parade. Others only care about winning championships. That would be me. We will be happy with a good team. No, I'm not happy with a good team. I want a title each and every time. I see Boston. We are now in Boston's rear view mirror. I hate that. I absolutely despise us being behind in championships to the Boston Celtics. We need to pass them on the freeway of life as far as the number of championships is concerned. And getting Luka now gives, like Joe said, you are always in title contention when you do that. Joe, Jeff, do you agree with me now? Because again, we are spoiled as Lakers fans. We are definitely spoiled. But again, when you have 17 titles to your name, you have come to expect an organization that builds a championship roster each and every season. And when they don't, it is a disappointment to us, at least as far as we're concerned. Not a good team doesn't cut it for us. Joe?
Okay, how do I answer this?
Well, you're always in the results business.
I wish I could I wish I could appreciate the 04, the 08 seasons. I can't. 91.
Yeah. And why?
Because they lost in the finals. Mm-hmm. To me, no matter what anyone says, practical or not, there's nothing worse than losing the last series or last game of the year. It's worse. And it changes legacies. I've mentioned this a few times. Kobe's career in 04 and 08 would have been much different had he won those two series. So much of history would have changed. So much of history would have changed. Shaquille the same way in 95 and in 04. And I use those as examples because they were favored in both series. So you can't sit there and say, well, they weren't. It wasn't like LeBron facing Durant in 17 and 18. That has Warriors were clearly the best team in those 2 years. And then LeBron James got dealt a horrible luck in 15 with both Kyrie and Love going out. Had he had maybe even just one of them, he might have won that series, actually. And he should have still been Finals MVP that year, too, by the way. But losing the last game or losing the last series is it gnaws at me. It just gnaws and just it festers. It never goes away, especially in 08, because even if let's say Kobe loses in 04 but wins in 08, that's 2 3-peats, 2-0 against the Celtics, and they would have passed the Celtics in titles in 2010. That's a different statistic that's not discussed. It's a monumental statistic. They would have passed the Celtics, and Kobe would have won both series against the Celtics. Would have won 3 straight Finals MVPs. It would have probably set him next to Michael forever, and you could argue for sure that he's equal at the very least. So that winning that title matters. And I know that they mentioned Bill Russell. Well, Bill Russell won 11. Okay, I get that. I'm not downgrading that he won those titles back then. But you can't argue that. You just can't argue that the competition was a little different then. There was 8 to 9 teams for a very long time during that time. It's much different when your team is stacked, which the Celtics did have a lot of stacked guys. They had Tommy Heinsohn. They had Bob Cousy for the beginning of that. They had Havlicek. towards the end of Bill Russell's career. Sam Jones. They had a lot of Don Nelson. They had a lot of. They were stacked. Red was ahead of his time at that time.
No free agency.
No free agency. No nothing. So the modern day, really modern day basketball, really started honestly in the 80s, and that's a long time. You're talking about since 1980. Talking about 45 years of 45 to 46 years of modern day basketball, and losing those finals games is a detriment to the overall resume. So the Lakers, in terms of team success, you're looking at a team that had gone since the 50s when Boston took over the overall title trophy. The Lakers finally caught up with them after 60, 70, almost 70 years. And then all of a sudden, one bad mistake, and then we had to watch Boston win a championship and go up one again. So now the tables turned again because Boston has a problem coming, folks. They have a problem. They have a salary problem. Now, the salary cap's going to go up. They'll get some relief there. But if this new ownership that's coming in is anything like the Dallas ownership, which a lot of these guys are starting to look like they're like that. They're these tycoons of tycoons now. Now, Mark Cuban is a billionaire, but he's not billionaire like the Edelsons. And I don't know who the hell's buying Boston. Whoever's buying Boston's got a lot of money too. I'm talking lots of money. So we don't know what the hell they're going to do there. We do know what Jeannie's going to do. And we were on her pretty bad. But man, did she slap us in the face and tell us, bitch, you better sit down. I'm still Dr. Buster's daughter. I know what the fuck I'm doing. And worst case, Jeff will like to hear this. It's like I like to hear it. And Aaron, you're watching. If it does come up to something where they have to sell it, you know who's going to get it, right? You know who's going to get it. Our boys, the Guggenheims. So the Lakers right now are sitting pretty good. One way or the other, they're going to get this thing going here for the next 10 years. And if something happens financially where Jeannie maybe in 7, 8 years says, you know what, I got to bounce. I don't want to be a 80-year-old woman running a basketball team, and I don't think Jesse and Joey are going to run things. She has some options there probably to hand it off to somebody that actually we do trust in LA. So I'm trying to get out of the rants of negativity here, folks, because I have no reason to rant in the negativity world at the moment. The negativity rants will be now relinquished to those who try to hate on what's going on. And you're going to like those rants better than you do when I was ranting on my own team. That's where that is.
Let me ask you guys this. Parade on Figaro on Twitch. Did get your question, Parade. I appreciate again your support on Twitch. Did AD underachieve with the Lakers? Looking forward to your thoughts. I want to close this chapter on AD because again, you know, he did bring us a title. Him and LeBron in the bubble and COVID still counts as me as one. Just like the Lakers in the chat, the 5 that they originally got in Minneapolis count just the same. Doesn't matter. So I'll say this again. What are your thoughts on AD? Did it underachieve? Did it underwhelm? At the end of the day, I'd do the trade 100 times out of 100 because ultimately you did get a chip out of it. And so many teams out there in the NBA don't even have one.
Jeff, you want to tackle this first?
Yeah, I don't think AD underachieved. I think the team underachieved, but I don't think AD did. I think he had, you know, outside of what year? 2021, he was still having a strong year, but he went down. He played great. They just didn't have the best roster around him. What killed the Lakers was that Westbrook trade. That was pretty much it. That set us back years, right? So in 2020, he was incredible, one of the best players on the planet. He was having a strong season this year, had a strong season last year. I don't believe AD underachieved. I believe that the Lakers were just scrambling to try to get a roster back to where this team could compete with Braun and AD, and they just never were able to achieve that. And by the time they realized they could do it, it was going to have to be for AD because the Braun and AD ship had sailed. So I don't believe that he underachieved. I know there's a lot of people who call him street clothes and injuries and this, that, and the third, but he played in the playoffs outside of 2021 when he got hurt because of really was just situational of coming back, a month or so, 2 months after the bubble. And just if we look at every team that year, every single team that went to at least a conference finals in the bubble all fell apart the next year. They all fell apart. It was too soon for teams that went deep into the bubble. Outside of that, when you look at some of the top stars in our league, AD has played more games than them. So the injury, I understand, we feel it because it happened to us. But if you look at some of the biggest stars in the world out there, AD has played more games than them. And he was playing through injuries in the playoffs. So I don't label AD as underachieving. I don't label AD as a failure as a Laker. He got us one chip. Probably should have got us another one. We had some bad luck. We had some stupid decision making. And, I would say the biggest reason why he didn't underachieve because him being an asset again got us Luka. So, no, he did not underachieve in my mind.
Joe, your thoughts?
I think Shaq underachieved.
Well, damn! If Shaq underachieved, which
yeah, I think Shaq underachieved, and it comes down to the complete game. So here's why they were positives as Lakers. They finished with ultimately what we needed them to finish. However, both should have been better. I'll give you an example. Shaq in 2003, when he delayed his toe surgery, that put the Lakers in a position where they had to go into the playoffs as a 5 seed.
Company time.
And by doing that, it made it much more difficult for them to make a run and eventually Duncan dunked them in those last. He destroyed them in Game 6 because of it in the semifinals in that year, and it ended a 4-peat. A 4-peat would have been, if you think 3-peats are legendary, a 4-peat would have put Shaq and Kobe in a category that I guess you could put it in the Celtics category, Islanders, Yankees in the 50s. But no one remembers what the hell happened in the 60s and 50s, and no one knows who the hell the Islanders are in a lot of ways. This is the freaking LA Lakers. If the LA Lakers 4-peat with Shaq and Kobe, you might even be able to argue that they're the greatest duo ever, even more so than Scottie and Pippen. These are the type of things that I think about when it comes to winning. And it's one of those things where I did side with Kobe in terms of his frustration with Shaq. Now, my frustration with Kobe goes to other things too. I think he was too aloof when he should have been a better leader. But that's a discussion for another time. Fast forward to AD. AD got screwed in 2020. He should have unanimously won Defensive Player of the Year that year. MVP, debatable, but I think Giannis earned it that year too. I'm not going to argue against that. Now, after that, I'm not saying 2021 was bad. That COVID year connection you got to kind of scratch that off. After that, 2022 was a dead year. Can't blame him for that one either because management had an absolutely horrendous offseason that year, bringing the AARP team together for some weird reason. And then 2023 and 2024, those two are probably more of a disappointment for AD for me. He didn't become ultimately what AD should have been in his career. He never, ever reached MVP status. That right there is the underachievement. The fact that the skill set that he had, he wasn't going to be Hakeem Olajuwon, but he was damn near close. And he should have won at least one MVP in his time. and it just didn't look like he really, really thought that way. I think he just did enough to do what he did. And a lot of that is good too. He never became a problem with chemistry and wasn't one of those guys that got on, wasn't a diva either. So there's some good elements there with that kind of thought process. But the issue is, for you to be that guy, sometimes you got to be somewhat of a jerk. And he just never was that guy. So underachievement, yes. I wanted to start off with Shaq on that one, because Shaq and Kobe should have won at least 5, 6. They should have won 6 championships, man. I'm sorry. Those guys were just too good. They underachieved in my book, Shaq especially. And then AD did what he was supposed to do in the end. He did bring a title. No regret there. There's no regret with this. No regret, obviously, as a fan watching this. There's no regret. But he underachieved in my book. He did. But he eventually did serve a purpose, even after him being gone. And that is bringing what I believe will be the best player in the NBA probably within the next year or two.
Okay. There you go. Very definitively said. But with that, Joe and Jeff, the title of the show and what reason why you wanted to go ahead and do the show tonight, Joe, is regarding the future for the Lakers and Luka Doncic, which we've touched upon throughout the show. Jeff, that's what he wanted to go ahead and come on and talk about, because a lot of people are still apprehensive in our chat, in our audience, in the comments that I get on a daily basis. There's still a segment of the Lakers fandom, like you said, maybe it's shock or maybe it's denial or what have you. They're still not seeing the brighter picture when it comes to the future for this team, this organization, both short term as a possibility, as I've said, that the Lakers with Luka and LeBron, if they're right, can go off and make any team in the playoffs nervous. But for the future, long term, that you can continue to build around a team around Luka. In fact, in 2026, when some of these contracts that are on there now start to clear up, free agency is not what it used to be, but the free agency in 2026, if it stands now the way it is, could be interesting, more interesting than most free agencies in recent years. But your thoughts, my friend, on what the future could be for the Lakers and Luka Doncic?
They reset it. So now you got a guy who everyone's going to want to play with. It's in LA. The Lakers organization is seen as a little bit more competent again, right? For whether you want to say that deal fell in their lap, whatever it was, like it changed the narrative. Okay, JJ's there. Brown will more than likely be out of there, or at least not making any type of money that he is now, with Luka being there. And it comes down to the Lakers are going to be in a pretty strong position to do things. They might be able to be in position this offseason. We'll have to wait and see how it goes. But I'm sure some of the people that don't like it. I mean, I remember there were people who didn't like the Lakers choosing Kobe over Shaq. They still won 2 more rings. There were people against saying we shouldn't have signed LeBron James. He got us a ring. There were people saying we shouldn't have gave up all that for Anthony Davis. We did. He got us a ring. Are those the same people saying we shouldn't have traded for Luka? Because if they are, they're about to be wrong again. So the way I look at it is, find me any sport in the world where you're presented with the opportunity of trading for a top 3 player before his prime. And the entire league is mad that you were the team they made the deal with. So when you have NBA executives, people covering the league, upset because the Lakers, they feel, got over on Dallas. And these are people professionally who get paid to do this for a living and have done this their entire lives. So that's me and my whole couch thing, right? Joe knows what I'm talking about. Like, the guys on the couch, we just got to wait and see. Us mere mortals who watch the games, we live and breathe it. We love it. We're just fans at heart, right? We talk about it. But at the end of the day, these guys earn a paycheck, a healthy one from it. And are they wrong sometimes? Of course. I don't know about the entire league being wrong. The entire league. When I say entire league, coaches, scouts, executive, broadcasters, columnists, beat writers, everyone thinks the Lakers made out like bandits in this trade. Everyone feels the Lakers reset their future for the next 10 years. Everyone feels like the Lakers got a sure, bona fide, first ballot, Hall of Fame, megastar before his prime now. So who might argue that? That's the way I see it.
I can't say I disagree with you. Again, all these people out there that are pundits, other teams, other general managers, other players, they're all upset about the fact that their team didn't have an option or even a chance to go after Luka because, like you said, this is a once in a lifetime player getting a once in a lifetime opportunity to the Lakers to go ahead and land on their team. But Joe, again, you wanted to preface this conversation starting off with the future for the Lakers and Luka Doncic, so I will let you continue on that path. Again, we're trying hard to help you guys come to the realization out there. I understand that there's still some that are not yet fully on that bandwagon, that having this opportunity for the Lakers' future, I don't want to say ensures, but it sure makes a pretty strong case for the Lakers being a title contender for years to come, Joe.
Well, when was the last time you saw a player traded like this, and they're bringing caskets to the arena?
Mhm.
Maybe Wayne Gretzky in Edmonton, and that was a little bit more understandable from a NHL perspective. At least Wayne had brought the Edmonton Oilers 4 championships. I think he had won 9 MVPs at that point. At least he did something in Edmonton. But what it meant for the NHL to go to take their biggest star to LA is you have hockey in warm weather places now because of it.
Mm-hmm.
And that's the Tiger Woods effect before you knew Tiger Woods. I was watching golf the other day, guys. I mean, it's like they take a cookie cutter of every golfer now, and they all look the same. They all look and play the same. They all look like they just came off of some real estate seminar, wear size 32 pants to their ankle with their, I don't know what the hell their golf shoes are, tight polos that look like latex. And they all make the same expression. As boring as watching, I don't even think paint drying is that boring at this point. So what do you do when you have an opportunity to put a game changer in a place that will allow that team and allow a league, an entity, whatever, to flourish? People bringing caskets, people death threats. I mean, that's stupid, by the way. I'm not supporting that in any way. That's like anybody who actually attempted to do something like that, even as a joke, should get whooped in the face, like while they're sleeping. For Laker fans, and me being the abrasive asshole that I can be,
Really?
I seriously don't care. What's done is done, and the Lakers are in a spot right now that puts them in a position where we can possibly see several championships with this person, because there's going to be people that are going to flock to come play with Luka. They are going to flock. Any chance they get, they are coming. And the Lakers are good at one thing when things are going well, and that is making sure the team is ready to compete and pay their stars well. You know that they don't get off that. The worry before the Luka trade was that this setup would never happen again because of how money is just because of how money needs to be traded these days. and the inability to be able to sign free agents because they're going to take that max deal. They're going to take that super max deal where they're at. How the hell are they going to want to come and relinquish $100 million? Right?
There's one guy, Joe. There's one guy.
Hold on. I'll let you continue. By the way, folks, I said this on the last show. There's no more, oh, that can't happen. That discussion is gone forever. If you all come in here and say, Joe, what if Jokic wants to come here in 2027 and has to give up $80 million in extension money? Or Giannis, he can bow out at the end of the 2026 season. I'm not saying anything anymore. What happened here this last 2+ weeks, that was as much of a game changer that I've ever seen. And that's why Rob Pelinka and Genie, they could make another Westbrook trade and they can't ever live this down. This was the boss of boss moves that I've seen. And I was around for the Gasol trade.
Yep, me too.
So go ahead and say what you're going to say, Jeff.
So I've been saying for a while now that we are getting closer and closer and closer to a guy turning down that first max extension from a team that's never been done before. All right. And I've been saying we're getting closer and closer to that. And I'm I'm going to be very careful when I say this because I think he could be the guy that does it. I'm not going to sit here and say he's going to become a Laker, but I think if he does do it, I think there's a chance. There's a pretty good chance they'd be in the running for it. And that guy, I'm telling you right now, don't be surprised that if the Spurs don't have their stuff together in a couple of years, Wemby don't need that money down there. Wemby's going to make so much money, like Ohtani, he's going to make so much money off the court. I'm telling you right now, I will die on this hill until it doesn't happen. I think that Wemby has potential, a very high number, to be the first guy to buck the big contract extension and risk it all to go where he thinks he's going to be in better position for 10 to 15 years. I just 100% believe it. I know we've been trending that way. A lot of people forget AD did that too. AD basically waived his Supermax because the trade killed it. He requested a trade out of there and waived that to do it. Okay. Now, I'm not saying that he's going to leave San Antonio and come to the Lakers, but I'm saying I think that Wemby has a strong chance to be the first athlete in the NBA to buck that first major extension, because all teams feel they always got their guys the first 7-8 years because of that first big deal. They usually leave at the second one. And I think someone like Wemby is going to have the cliche and the power and the marketing and the money and the branding. And any money he probably loses by leaving San Antonio, he probably triples by coming to LA. And that's all I'm going to say. And I think there's a strong chance that he may buck the system and never sign that extension with San Antonio if he doesn't believe in the direction. I 100% believe that. And like what Joe said, the impossible of Luka trade was impossible. So like Joe said, even though I was already thinking about this before the Luka deal, this just makes my belief even stronger that something like that is possible.
So Joe, you have an answer for that?
Well, we're already getting the that's never going to happen discussion after we just said the most impossible trade happened. We're not going to do that anymore. And then you have people saying
anything is possible. We're going to go Kevin Garnett. Anything is possible at this point.
Listen, by the way, fuck Kevin Garnett. It
was the.
I don't give a shit. I don't want to hear that shit. That happened on a. Yeah, you know what I'm talking about. The
phrase.
Fuck him and the phrase. Victor has a team option in 2027. Obviously, they'll pick it up. But if he wants to leave after that, stay tuned. Mm-hmm. Don't say never.
He can accept He can accept the qualifying offer, become a free agent. Boom. And again, I can't predict the future. I just feel that ever is going to be a guy. It's going to be him. I'm not guaranteeing even if he does do it, it's to the Lakers. But what I'm saying is, I think he's going to have everything that that player needs to be the first guy to bucket. I think it's going to be him.
Hustler, do you want me to say this in Arabic to you? Maybe Spanish. How about German? Sprechen Sie Deutsch? If he doesn't want to sign if he signs a qualifying offer that makes him a free agent after 2028, he controls that.
Wait,
I'm talking about Victor, not
he's saying Spurs GM is too smart. That's the same GM that lost Kawhi, right? Just saying.
What the hell did we just say? You know why we're doing this show? To kind of give you guys some substance. And did this Luka thing did it melt your brain where you're still not getting it? Are you that stubborn guy that keeps thinking that you're that guy that thinks, oh, well, I'm in a relationship with this crazy person, but let's have a baby to make it better. Are you that kind of guy? Is that the kind of thinking you have, folks? I was watching Observation with the legend and Gerald and Esmond, and people were talking about this thing. So I said, you know what? We got to talk about this in detail. I didn't think we were going to get Jeff tonight.
Well, are you surprised at the divisiveness?
I am 100%. I don't understand. I just gave you another good example. They're bringing coffins. These guys are destroyed. They know. They watched him play for 6 years, plus this year. On top of that, who's going to know more than the Dallas Mavericks fans? Okay, look at the statistics if you haven't watched Luka play a lot. 5 first-team All-NBAs, guys. Come on. You have guys that played 15 years, 13 years, 12 years that don't have that many. This guy is him. We talk about Reeves, Austin Reeves, with all due respect. We say he's him, but that's like kind of like a term of endearment. Hey, buddy, you're him. No, Luka is him.
Yeah.
Okay? And you just got him at 25 years old, who hasn't even hit his prime. There's a prime. If you all haven't heard me give you the difference between prime and prime. Prime, if some of you are boxing fans out there, I think, Aaron, you might be. There is a prime. It's very short. Especially in boxing, it's like maybe if you're lucky, 4 and 5 years. If you're lucky. I always like to go to 3, 4, like that area. It's very, very short because it's a brutal sport. In basketball, it's 5 years. It's usually between 28 and like 32 area. That 28, 32 area, especially for big men. Now, as far as perimeter types, usually it's a little earlier, but they do still dominate in that middle area because maturity and just overall just repetition over at least now 6, 7, 8 year run. You get really good at knowing what the hell you're doing. So Luka hasn't even hit 28, not even close yet. He's going to turn 26 in 10 days. So imagine this. Imagine when he does hit 28 and the Lakers have some money to go get one big stud on top of that then.
He's at his peak.
At his peak, you're going to have a problem against the Lakers. As an opponent, you're going to have a problem. And don't forget, you guys got to wake up. How many clutch players are out there, really? I'm talking about like Reggie Miller, Kobe clutch guys, not De'Aaron Fox clutch in Sacramento. I'm talking about big game clutch.
Yeah, he's clutch light. I'd have to really rack my brain outside of Luka.
Give me your answer. You have to think about it. Okay, back in the day, you knew right away Reggie, Kobe. Heck, the Lakers had freaking role players that were known as clutch players with Ori, with Fish. Who's clutch?
The only other guy that kind of comes to mind, and you couldn't count on him last year, is Kyrie's known to be pretty clutch, but he wasn't able to last year, but not to those levels. But no, it's just Luka as far as I can think of.
I put a De'Aaron Fox. Statistically, he was for at least a couple of years, a guy that was in the last 5 minutes, I guess statistically was one of the best, if not the best in the NBA as far as his percentage is concerned. So I'd put him in that mix as well. because he was actually, what did he get the award for clutch
Yeah,
player?
but I just would. I'm thinking maybe I'm misunderstanding Joe here. I'm thinking a clutch situation in playoffs and stuff like that when the
Oh, in
defense
playoffs. Well,
times
playoffs
up and
is
stuff like
different.
that.
Yeah,
De'Aaron
he
Fox
hasn't
isn't
been.
that guy,
Yeah,
and that's maybe I'm looking too
we
deep into
haven't
this.
seen that yet from him. Actually, yeah,
Yeah, yeah. And the game,
that's right.
the way the
I thought it was just
game,
period across the
yeah,
board.
yeah. Pierre, he because he scores points in the fourth quarter when other teams' legs are dead and he has his speed. Yeah, but if you're going up against deeper in the playoffs, a better defensive team that forces him out of those lanes and makes him shoot, he's going to fall apart. So whereas Luka can get to the cup, Luka can do mid range, Luka can go with contact concentration, Luka can hit the step back three, he can hit the pump fake three, he can hit a damn near a floater three. So Luka's bag from deep, even while shooting 27% in the finals, is much bigger than De'Aaron Fox, who's just going end to end like Sonic the Hedgehog. All right. Like, whereas Luka can play with the game slow against a set defense, go either way and punish a team, where De'Aaron Fox isn't going to do that. But in a regular season, oh yeah. When he's running and gunning those fourth quarter points, he's probably the best guy in the league for the regular season for that. But come playoff time, I don't put him in that category with Luka.
I'll just put it to you like this, Jeff. A show that you've been on, I believe, and we've been on as well. We Talk Mavs. I know you're familiar with the channel. Some really great guys there. If you get a chance, you're a Mavs fan, even an NBA fan, please go ahead and support their channel. Really, really great guys there. I know some people in our chat are from there. It's so funny, Joe, because Frank, who often comes on our audience, such a really nice guy, very conversational, very polite, respective. He goes on the show that happened right after the Luka trade, and he is a different person entirely. You see their entire show, Jeff. It was like someone died. It was like was in the funeral parlor.
It was a death to them.
It was a death. Yes, they get it. They understand what it meant for having them, for their team trading away Luka. They get it. So, which is, I think hard for Joe and hard for a lot of others. And, to an extent myself, although I have been, doing this channel now for years enough to realize that there's going to be two sides to every coin when it comes to our audience. They get it, Jeff.
Yeah,
they get exactly how serious this was.
And I have a group chat with those guys, and let me tell you, though, those guys from the get go, like they're not even calling it. It's not even like We Talk Mavs anymore. They're like We Talk Luka. Like there are Mavs content creators who aren't even covering the Mavs anymore. They're now watching Laker games covering Luka. You know what I mean? I've got more people reached out, the Mavs fans, to have me come on their show now as they're covering Luka. Like it's crazy to try to put this into context, and I don't mean to stretch here, but I'm trying to get people to understand the magnitude. And I don't know if this is going to be received well or not, but this would have been like, you remember the trade that would have had Kobe going to Detroit? You remember that, Joe?
Yes.
Okay. Kobe was what, 25 at the time?
Yep.
Right? Ish. Somewhere that, maybe 27 max, but I think younger than that. Okay. It would be almost what the Lakers would have felt, Laker fans would have felt if they did that trade. Now, I'm not saying that Luka is Kobe. I'm not. They're different. But to Dallas, Luka is Kobe, Magic, Shaq, everything. Everything. Because there's people who watch Dirk for 20 years. I'm like, oh yeah, Luka's better. They know it. And they traded him. So like I said, imagine if the Lakers pulled off a trade of Kobe to Detroit after the trade had already beaten them in the finals. And now you're going to get Rip Hamilton and whatever back, right? For Kobe Bryant, and try to understand, who had already brought you 3 chips. Try to understand your level of panic, frustration, anger. You had guys protesting outside it was still Staples, and protesting outside of Staples just because they hadn't won a championship. Imagine they traded Kobe. Imagine. And I don't think there'd be a single Detroit Piston fan saying, oh man, I don't like this deal. You just got the best player in the world. I don't care what you gave up. You got the best player in the trade. You got the best player on the planet. At that point, approaching his peak. We got Luka even earlier than that. And we got the best version of AD. We sold high. on AD. I still, people say I felt we bought low on AD, to be honest. What we gave up, there's not a single person there in New Orleans. Even the pick we gave up is on our team. We bought AD low, sold high. We traded Alonzo Ball with his knee and a half. We traded Josh Hart, Brandon Ingram. Pick swaps, picks, all of them gone. There's not a single remnants of that trade in New Orleans because we bought low. We bought low. And then we won a chip and we flipped him for Luka. And if any, I just can't grasp my mind. Joe would be like, someone be upset the Dodgers got Ohtani. I'm just trying to.
You did hear some things. Oh, well, this guy hasn't done anything in the playoffs.
The money.
I was saying, look, this is the world we're in. That's why the reason why I curse on air is for effect, because I want you to feel. I want those who talk like that to feel it. Like people said that Ohtani had nothing to do with the championship during the World Series. And I'm sitting there going, did you forget about the productive out?
Mm-hmm.
With a like,
game one out.
Do you not understand baseball? People were dogging on Gavin Lux and all that. I go, Gavin Lux tied the game up in Game 5, right?
Yep, sack fly.
What exactly? This is baseball. It is not basketball or football or hockey. The best players aren't always available in every instance. They have to wait their turn.
Especially baseball. Especially baseball.
Your best player sometimes is a pitcher. You don't even have him every day.
Mm-mm.
So, what that is it's the same people who live a life of just trash. I don't know what else. I don't want to get too deep here. I'm just going to keep it simple. The same kind of people that fight their siblings for their parents' money. That type of people. People that are just full of shit, full of garbage, making every little excuse they can. Someone had mentioned Patrick Mahomes was crying after that trade, and the thing that kills me, that's an example I've been using here for about a year or so. Like, what happened with Patrick Mahomes? Why do people hate this guy? What did he do? Is it really because he's winning a lot and you're mad? Really? You're mad because he wins a lot? You don't like his wife? What did she do to you? What did Patrick Mahomes do to you? Why? Because he complained one time on a call that was wrong, and all of a sudden now let's open the floodgates? This is the same setup. You're hearing shit, and you're rolling with it. Oh, Luka drank beer. Bro, did you not watch The Last Dance? Did you not watch Jordan and Pippen drinking a beer in the training room in suits? What, you think humans did shit 10 years ago and then everybody lived like angels before then?
Larry Bird drank a beer at every halftime. Budweiser.
Larry Bird drank beer, smoked cigarettes, and laid concrete after a game.
Mm-hmm.
Fucked up his back, too, doing it.
There's that. Wasn't the beer's fault.
Don't lay concrete, guys, especially in the 80s. They did things much more risky back then. But anyways, what I'm trying to get at with the Laker fans here, I don't give a shit about Maverick fans. I'm sorry, with all due respect, I just don't give a shit. Maverick fans, non-Laker fans who are pissed or want to make something up, whatever. I don't give a shit. I'm talking to my people on here that are on here that are listening to us on a daily. And maybe those that chime in every now and then. Understand this. Barring an injury, Luka Doncic is going to bring 2 or 3 championships to LA in the next decade. I want you all to put that in your pocket. And the only reason why AD and LeBron didn't win more championships in the end was just an unforeseen circumstance that just unfortunately just did not work out. And we're still wrong. I thought multiple championships. I thought AD would win an MVP too. But COVID really put a monkey wrench in that. They came back too quick in 2021 and they all he got busted. AD got busted in the end.
Which caused the overreaction the next year for that trade.
Which caused the overreaction. And in AD's defense, this is archived as well. He said, run it back. There was an interview. He said, run it back. They didn't listen. They should have listened. Run it back. And maybe we would have seen a Lakers-Celtic final in 2022. Unfortunately, we missed it. And then they made a bad decision, and this is also archived. I did not want Frank Vogel fired. I thought Frank Vogel was the perfect coach for this team. They went and hired Devin. They went and hired Darvin Ham, and it set him back even more. So all that shit doesn't matter anymore. It just does not matter. Okay? They basically bought a lemon. They bought a lemon a few years back. You're pissed off that your wife, your husband, whatever, whoever you are, bought a lemon. Oh, this car sucks. This ain't doing shit, blah, blah, blah. And then all of a sudden, your husband or your wife came in and said, oh, how about this Maserati? Got it brand new for this price. Yeah.
Just took that lemon and gave you the best lemonade in the world.
Right?
Yep.
So you all got to let this play out in the end, too. You got to let this play out. And also understand, it's very important that you understand this part, too. This team could make a run this year, but don't get weird if they don't. The Lakers have $59 million in expiring contracts, and they have their picks back from the negated trade. The Lakers are going to bring reinforcements. They have the assets. They have the material to do it.
They've just been waiting. Just been waiting.
Understand this, folks. You guys have seen us be pretty bad this last, at least for me, the last 10 months. 9 months, 10 months. It was a culmination of a bunch of stuff. It was the Bronny thing. It was the Celtics winning a championship. It was not doing shit during the offseason. It set us all off. At least it did for me. But they made us eat shit. Now we have to sit here and we got to support it because that's the right thing to do.
They gave us something to support. They hadn't for a bit. They gave us something to support. And that's exactly where it is. Like you Joe, you know where I've been. You've talked through this whole process about me covering basketball, and
you went game 3 Padres the last 4 months.
Yeah.
So this is why I don't harp on Jeff a lot. Jeff projects this too cool for school personality, which you are, Jeff. You are too cool for school most of the time, but you are human. There have been instances where you did what the hell is going on here moments. You're just a little bit more cerebral with it, whereas I'm outwardly with it. But at the end of the day, it's the same thing. We give a shit.
Mm-hmm.
We spend a lot of time. We enjoy this. This is who we are. We're sports guys. Just like people who enjoy CrossFit or giving seminars at TED Talks, whatever. We're sports guys. I love competition. I'm addicted to competition. I'm addicted to winning. This is the only way I can win at a level like this as an observer. I can't do it as a participant, unfortunately. So this is the next best thing.
So the thing I want to ask you guys before we head it out is the LeBron question and how you build this team going forward. LeBron James still capable of doing many things, having statistically the best season ever for an individual 40 years old. And still another divisive individual that nobody can seem to agree on in our chat or basically out there as far as basketball fans are concerned. He is the most divisive player. You think Luka is divisive in our audience? Go ahead and check out the comments on LeBron. But the realization is LeBron will leave this game and will leave the Lakers when he chooses to. Yes, I understand now it's Luka's team and all that, but LeBron will always dictate what he is going to do for the rest of his career. And that said, how do you still build a team going forward again with him being still a part of it? Whether you think he's going to retire next year, retire at the end of this year, retire years down the road, what have you. How do you go ahead and do that going forward, Jeff?
Well, yeah, LeBron is very polarizing, first and foremost. Some of his
You
own,
could say that again.
yeah, so some of his own doing, some of just people having a problem with someone that major in the world, right? Um, LeBron will step in it himself sometimes. Sometimes he does absolutely nothing wrong and it's blown way out of proportion. He's just that guy, right? But the way he's playing at 40 years old is insanity. Like, I think everyone can agree that what he's doing out there now, you have to ask yourself, like, if you're trying to win a championship, this is what I've always said. If you're trying to win a championship and 40-year-old LeBron James is your best player, you're not winning a championship. That's no shade to Bron. 40-year-old Kareem wasn't the best option. A 40-year-old Kobe wouldn't have been the best option. A 40-year-old Shaq wouldn't have been the best option. A 40-year-old Magic Johnson wouldn't have been the best option. This is just what it is. It's not a LeBron thing. It's a father time thing. He has spurts, he has moments, but he can't defend like he used to. He can't do everything he used to do. The body can't do what the heart, mind, and soul wants to do. That's through no fault of his own. The fact that he's even gotten this far in this season to be able to put up this level of play is incredible in and of itself. Now, having said all that, I think this Luka trade, one, it's basically Luka's franchise now. Two, Braun already kind of, and I don't really know how genuine this was, but he at least put it out there that he was willing to take the pay cut this last offseason if they went out and get someone with that money. Now with Luka here, he has an opt-out. Maybe that's something he considers to do again. Maybe there's a world where he plays, takes less money. He still wants his son to be here. So as long as he plays that game, I know Joe's not gonna love that. But what I'm saying is,
when I mentioned that, absolutely hates it when I mentioned the word Bryce James.
I get it. But what I'm saying is the Lakers have some leverage there now, especially with Luka, because they have the draw, right? AD wasn't going to be the draw. AD could go out there and average 30 points a game, 15 rebounds, and 7 blocks. He wasn't going to be the gate that LeBron is. He wasn't going to get those dollars at the gate. They've got another draw now. Okay. So now the Lakers have a little leverage here to work with LeBron, and it's still just more money for them. So as far as LeBron goes, I don't really know, because let's see how he looks. Let's see how this team plays. Let's see how this team plays in the playoffs. Let's see how these two play in the playoffs. Let's see how Austin Reeves plays as a third guy. Let's see how DFS, Vando, and these guys who are pieces specifically for defensive purposes in the playoffs. Let's see what this team looks like in the playoffs. And if they're looking well going into the offseason, and you got Gabe Vincent playing well and Rui Hachimura is playing well, and then, do you try to look for something on the margins, or do you dump all that money and go for something big now? Like, we don't know. So at the end of the day, it's going to come down to how Braun and Luka play together, how these complementary pieces play together, and also how JJ handles the pressure come playoff time from the sideline. And if the majority of those things click, they still might not be the best team in the league, right? But we can have a 2023 situation where they go deeper than anyone thought. And unlike previous years where we were thinking, okay, we were the 13th seed, the 11th, the 12th, we made it up there, we got to the Western Conference Finals. Now let's go further next year, right? I personally feel, and this is just my opinion, if the Lakers make it to the Western Conference Finals or beyond, even without a championship, with acquiring Luka at this point of the season, not even having a true center, I think that would be a pretty successful season. And I understand what you said earlier about only playing for championships. But if you think of where we were when we started the season to where we are now and moving forward, this is a stepping stone. And from the second this trade was made, I always felt like next year was going to be bigger than this year because of this trade. So I feel like this year is house money. I don't know if you guys feel the same, but I think LeBron, seeing how he plays, how he adapts to kind of Luka. Because here's the thing, Joe and Gerald, LeBron has said numerous times he's tried to give that torch to AD. I've often used the analogy of You have two parents in the delivery room. The doctor takes the baby from the mother, tries to give the baby to the dad. It's like, AD, take the baby. AD never took the baby. Luka's going to take the baby before Braun has a chance to hold it. And what I'm saying is, let's see how that plays out. And I think the two of them on the floor will be able to play together. I think Braun's versatility to be able to do multiple things will help him playing with Luka. And I don't really have the answers because we have to wait and see how things play out. Who's healthy, who's not, who's in the rotation, who's not, who's stepping up, who's not. There's a lot of things to play out here. I think they could thrive. I think they could play well. I just don't know if they have enough to win it all. But this is a down year. And if there's ever was a year to sneak one, like last year when Boston did it, hey, if they got to sneak one, why can't we? Right? That's how I look at it, because I felt that was the weakest championship in NBA history last year. They still won it. It's still in their banners. It's theirs. I'm not saying it doesn't count. But what I'm saying is we got a better player than any of those two over there with Luka. And I feel like I said, I'm back. It tells you me being back creating basketball content shows you that I believe they can do something. Because they were just, I felt the Lakers were a complete waste of my time early this season. I watched them, I checked them, but I wasn't about to get up here and spend an hour and a half, an hour. I wasn't giving up my time. I was like, F you, Lakers, man. My time's too valuable at this point. I'm not taking away from making money to come do this. I'm not doing that. You know what I mean? The F you pay me was in me on that one, right? I was like, no, I'm not sacrificing bread for this porridge or whatever it was. I'm not doing it. Not doing it. Now I'll sacrifice some money. You know what I mean? Because I'm buying in. When you buy in, you spend money. I'll put some money aside. But I'm excited again, at least. Even if they flare out, I'm excited because they did something, Joe. They did something, right? They gave us a reason to be excited. And now now they just got to show us. That was a really long answer to a very probably easy, short question. But got to wait and see how this all looks and who stays healthy, really.
There's no such thing as there's no such thing as long answers on this show. There needs to be we pride ourselves on this show with information that even the $1 million a year players can't answer. And crazy to say this, the ones who've played in the league can't answer. Mm-hmm. That's shocking to me how ill-informed some of these guys are, yet they have those positions. That's why I think at some point we're going to reach a level where there will be a little bit more movement from this industry, and it's going to be under our decision making. We'll be the Joe Rogans of this thing. They won't be able to stop us at that point. That's the goal, anyways. So. My shock is pretty clear the day it happened. Still was shocked probably for a week. I think the shock came from the excitement of not having to wait. And I am not, and I've never been the type of person that listens to patience is a virtue. Fuck patience. I don't got time for patience. You only live as long as you can live, and that shit can be quick. I'm about now. I'm about do it now. And then when I don't do it now, if I'm sitting on the couch one day, just, I don't know, re-registering, whatever. It doesn't take long before I'm like, what the hell am I doing with my life? That's just how the brain works here. Waiting is for chumps. I don't wait for no one. And it looks like the Lakers weren't going to wait either. And I dogged them and I shit on them and I got personal with them and I've apologized for it and I've already made it very clear that it's probably not forgivable on the things I said because it sounded personal. But there's support. The support was still there. We were still watching. We were still talking about it. But now it's going to be defending what they've done. Even if it doesn't work. Even if Luka gains 30 pounds. I don't care. This was the right move regardless. Worst case scenario, they we're able to get something done here for someone who is about to get into that area where he was going to start getting a little bit messed up physically. And LeBron James, how that plays out. Guys, call me naive. I don't believe for a second LeBron knew any of this was going on. And the reason why I feel like I know this is because you haven't heard shit from Clutch. And you couldn't scratch your ass the last 5 years unless you heard Clutch somewhere about anything. You haven't heard shit till this day since the trade about Clutch, what Clutch is doing, even though one of their guys was traded. This was not Clutch. This was likely Genie going, all right, I gave you guys a shot. I let you kind of run some shit, but now it's time to get into Dr. Bus territory. Now it's time to execute Dr. Bus's shit. Now it's time to get the relationships that we've had together in secret, and let's see what we can do. 19 years working at Nike, Nico Harrison. Rob Pelinka, obviously, being tied with Kobe and Nike and being his agent. The relationship was there. Brokered this thing 3.5 weeks without letting it leak. That in itself should put him in the Hall of Fame with all the snitches that are out there. Made it happen and got, in my opinion, the best baller in the game.
And it only leaked. It only leaked when AD got informed. That's it. That's how Shams got it. As soon as AD found out, it leaked. It was out.
Which wasn't necessarily. Would you consider that a leak?
No, I'm saying when it leaked to the public, when it came out. Before it's a leak, it's before it's official. But what it's a scoop, I guess you would call it. And that's why he was so quick to put it out. There was no quick follow-up. There was no preparation. He launched that tweet within seconds of getting the intel. And that's why the internet was kind of frozen, because they didn't know what to do, because he wasn't doing anything else. Shams always hits with a tweet, then a subtweet, then an article. He follows Woj's pattern now with Free ESPN. That's exactly how he does it. It was strictly the tweet, and then it was radio silence, because then he was on the phone. He got the intel. This is happening. Boom. Then he ghosted everyone because he had to get on the phone. But as soon as
everybody else from
out,
ESPN were supporting him, though, by saying this, he was not hacked.
Yeah,
it is real,
because they put it on their thread. They put it on their accounts. Yeah. So
McMenamin retweeted it. That was when it started to click.
Bobby Marks said the same thing. That's not a hack, guys. Not a hack.
It's not. And it was just one of those things where it's like, as soon as AD knew before Braun knew. So when they called AD, I don't know if he told Shams or told Clutch, and it went from there. I don't know that pillar, but as soon as AD found out is when the news came out.
Supposedly Rob called him first, then he called Clutch, and then he called LeBron in that order.
Gotcha.
That's
so
when
that
LeBron
probably it was either AD or Clutch. Yeah.
During the dinner, I think he found out during dinners what was
LeBron said.
Yeah.
Anybody want to take a stab? Jeff, I think I talked to you, Gerald, about this a little bit, but I don't think we went into detail. I think I had mentioned something. But I'll start with Jeff, and then Gerald, tell me what you think. I want you to take a guess, Jeff, on what the conversation was after LeBron got off the phone when he found out that AD got traded for Luka. What do you think LeBron's reaction was at home, talking probably to his wife? Maybe it was close boys. What do you think? What do you think we was saying, really?
Because it's his close people and it wasn't for the cameras, I think he was probably a little shocked that he was left in the dark. I feel like he probably, while I feel he liked the trade, I feel that's when the light clicked. That's when it clicked to him that they took their team back. And I don't think that's disrespectful. And I'm not necessarily thinking he's taking it as disrespect. But where he used to fill up the whole power strip, he's only got like 2 plugs on there now. And I think that's a good question, but I think there was shock, not just that AD got traded, not that just that he wasn't consulted, but also that just that all that happened. It was like all at once. Like I feel like LeBron had the same level of shock we all did. And for LeBron, that doesn't happen because he usually controls everything. He makes a lot of decisions, influences decisions, controls the information in and out. So the fact that he had zero information, I'm assuming that I don't know if he got the call from Rob before the tweet went out. I don't know. I don't know if it's the first time he heard about it was from Rob or if it was Shams. Or AD. I don't know. But I'm sure there was just some numbness. I think there was confusion. I think he went through like every like season, right? I think there was probably initial anger, there was shock, there was sadness, there was surprise, and then it was, all right, let's get to work. And I think that's kind of where he is now. And honestly, I think this could be good for LeBron. I think this could be good for LeBron because now the Lakers made a move without him being involved. He likes the move. Players around the league are going to like the move to come play for them. And I think it's a good thing that LeBron trusts the Lakers again. And well, not to say they never did. I mean, he was part of every decision they made. But I think there was everything, Joe. I think there was everything. I think he was like, I can't believe these fuckers didn't tell me. Then it was just like he probably was really worried about if what AD thought and if AD thought he knew. That's probably a real thing. He probably had to talk with AD and be like, bro, I really didn't know anything and work through that. Because again, it's LeBron, right? What move goes down that he doesn't know about? That part had to probably be concerning for him was worrying about if AD was going to believe him or not. I think that was a real thing. But I think all those things, Joe. I think everything.
Gerald?
Jeff covered all the bases there. And when you're LeBron and you're in control of seemingly the entire situation for seasons after season after season, and then you've got what went on without his knowledge, and then it's dropped on him. Like you said, I'm sure he ran the gambit of emotions, from sadness, anger, to jubilation that he now has a new tag team partner that ultimately will, or at least should, become the alpha for the team that he's been asking for. As his career winds down, you've got another one just really getting started. And but it comes right down to it. I think once the haze kind of parted ways, and he obviously, like Jeff said, must have correlated to AD that he had no part in this and had no knowledge of this. I think he absolutely sees the forest from the trees like we do about how big a gift this truly will be for the Lakers going forward.
Well,
one thing real quick I left out. One thing real quick. This was the biggest move in the Laker LeBron era, and he had no say in it.
Mm-hmm.
That's a big part.
And maybe we shouldn't be surprised. This is an owner, Jeannie, that fired her own brother. She's fired Byron Scott. She's fired Luke Walton. They had to essentially fire Phil Jackson once as well.
Traded Derek Fisher.
I think what it did for me, and I can't put it any other way, but she gave you a chance. You didn't come through. Now it's time for me to do what I need to do. And maybe that part of her leadership is something that I missed. I think I missed that part. I didn't see that. It was there. It had happened already, but I didn't see it because I was clouded with Celtics winning a championship, drafting Bronny, not doing anything in the summer, and it fogged my thinking process of who they were. And there's been some questionable decisions off the court that I didn't like. There's Magic saying he got backstabbed. All those things got into this potluck of emotion all at once. And created this negative aura around it. But there's nothing better than when you're in that zone, negative zone, and then somebody says, all right, mother, you know what? Jeff, we talked about this with Dave Roberts. There's a regret, but there's also a thought process of maybe that kind of retort from I'm sure I'm not the only one that felt this way, put pressure on them, and they took advantage. They were clutch with the pressure. They came in clutch at the end. Dave Roberts pissed me off for years.
Pissed a lot of people off.
Until you saw evidence of different calls that he was not doing that we were begging him to do before. And why is it they worked? Why? I sit on a couch to relax. I don't sit on a couch to judge and point fingers that I know better than everybody. I know what I'm talking about. I know what I'm seeing. I'm right more than I'm wrong. I'm sorry, but it's true. And
to be fair, whenever I make the couch reference, it's for those guys who don't know what they're talking about.
I know exactly what you're talking about. And what it does is it does also make you think a little bit more, even though you do know stuff. You also sometimes you can get lost too. Sometimes you can be a dick, like without knowing.
I think sometimes they know you're a dick, though.
I'm talking about you guys. You guys.
No, I'm just kidding.
Yeah.
I'll just leave it at this again. Go ahead, Joe.
Yeah, but again, in the end, it's what I'm trying to convey here, especially on this show in general, is I'm going to keep using this comparison. We are professional gamblers that aren't going to win every bet.
Yeah.
Just understand this. If I'm wrong, I'm going to say I was wrong. That's just how this is supposed to go. And I will be wrong again. We will be wrong again. Jeff will have that moment of weakness where he decides that he wants to make a little bit more money than sit and talk about something. Me, maybe I can teach Jeff to do both one day.
So until that day comes, though, guys, I think you guys have got something planned in the not too distant future before we head on out.
Yeah. I've had to. I'm going to branch out on my own here soon.
The baby's leaving the nest, Jeff.
I'll still be here. I'll still be here. But there's been some investigation on my part, and also some good advice from the crew here to make sure that whatever brand I put up is something that won't be messed with, because we live in a world where you can't look right or left without somebody trying to jack your shit. I'm been really good at being able to avoid that kind of stuff in my life. So I think it's going to be important in this situation to be even more diligent in making sure that we have all the ducks in line there. But, the Lakers, for a minute there before this trade, I was going to ride the wave as much as I could on this one. But they turned into a Category 5 wave now that for the next decade. So I was preparing a Dodger run here because I truly believe one way or the other, 2025 is going to be as epic of a season for baseball as we'll see, regardless if they win or not. If they lose, it's going to be news. If they win, it's going to be news. So one way or the other, we're going to be riding this thing. And I sent Jeff the lineup that didn't even have the full pitching staff on there. And when you see the faces that are on the team, how many was it? 20?
It's something absurd.
I mean, Jesus Christ.
It's nuts. It's nuts. I still can't believe we have this. And I'm going on a full baseball run. Like, again. Like, it's gonna be
I've never watched 162. I'm going to watch every spring training game and 162.
Ooh, that's the test.
Yes.
That's the test. Because every spring training, for those who don't know, NBA preseason, NFL preseason, bro, MLB spring training is damn near a season in and of itself compared to some sports. It's long. It's long. And there's a lot of guys that you will never hear or see from again playing, which is kind of dope. but yeah, spring training is a different animal, whole different animal. So I've that's one thing I've never done. I've never watched every spring, well, not live. I've never watched every spring training game because most of them happen while I'm at work. So I'll listen to have the radio on. I've never watched an entire spring training live. Never could. I've watched an entire spring training, going back and watched on the DVR or listen to it, like I've been in tune with it. But as far as sat down, watched every pitch of a spring training run for a season, never.
It's going to be important. Gerald, we haven't missed a preseason game and for the Lakers since we've been doing the show. I've never played in the NFL, Major League Majors, or the NBA. If I'm going to come on here and act like I know what the hell I'm talking about, I better know what the hell I'm talking about. And a lot of times watching shit dude, forget about preseason. I watched every summer league game since freaking the greatest summer league player of all time, Lonzo Ball.
Since the Lakers built the summer league.
Right?
League didn't get popping until the Lakers were in the lottery.
I've been watching all those games, and in the information world, which is what this is, and luckily for me, I do retain the information well. It's that one thing that Will Hunting, he knew math, he knew numbers. I know sports. I don't remember every single thing, but I'm almost everything Laker-wise for sure, almost. But it's important to understand that there's going to be people out there that want to listen to this information, and they're going to want to know that we're not full of shit, because that's the only way we're going to separate ourselves from the jackals that are doing stuff like we are.
So, Empire Jeff, I know you said your schedule is kind of different now, especially after the Luka trade. How are you structuring your channel? You maybe get some of the viewers out there. Some of them are actually, they watch both yours and ours about what's going on with the Empire Jeff channel on YouTube.
Yeah, so I with everything from the Dodgers becoming what they did, and my kind of just, along with a lot of people, just kind of being turned off by the NBA, not just the Lakers, just the NBA in general, wasn't grabbing me early this year. And then my schedule has just been crazy. That's always going to be a thing. But I'm kind of one of these guys where it's like I'm very, I don't want to say vibe driven, but I'm very like, I've got to be all in on it. My heart's got to be in it. I can't just pull up. Like tonight, I did the thumbnail, did everything. I sat down. I didn't feel like doing a show. So I didn't do it. Like, I just didn't feel like doing it. Like, I didn't have it. I didn't feel it. And if I did it, it would have been a bad show. And I knew that. So I didn't do the show. I walked in the other room. I got the notification. You guys went live. I was perfectly content walking the pup, listening to you guys. And then,
Jeff, I was getting ready to play Avowed on the Xbox, and this guy there.
So Joe,
oh, we're gonna do a show, Daryl. Go do a show.
Joe shot me a text, and Joe will be the first to tell you. And I'm not saying this like I'm somebody, because I'm not, but I'm just saying Joe will tell you how many times he'll tell me, and I'm like, Joe, I'm not doing it right now, man. It's not you. I love doing shows with you. It just I don't feel it. I don't feel it. And you know what got me? I'm gonna give you 3 guesses. You know what got, and again, I'm a nobody. It's not like getting me on the show is a major thing. What I'm saying is, I'm gonna give you 3 guesses, Joe, what got me on the show tonight. Let's see if you can get what it was. Something, like I said, I walked out. I was getting the pup. I grabbed my phone, notification, started listening to you guys. And then I said something in this comment section. You shot me a text, and I was like, sure, I'm doing this tonight. I'm gonna give you 3 guesses, Joe. Do you know what got me on the show tonight?
No, I don't.
Your new equipment. When I saw the mic.
Oh,
When I saw the mic.
That's the first thing he said, Joe.
Yeah,
That's
yeah.
the first
So
thing he said.
when I saw, because me and Joe be talking, right? So like when I saw the mic, I was like, oh, I gotta pull up now. I gotta
You
pull
know,
up.
he's Mr. Up. I've got up the production value here. We're gonna up the
No.
production value.
But
He
I'm
did.
telling you, like
He did.
I'm very weird like that. I'm not. I'm a guy that's really. I'm really hard schedule wise because like me, it's not like I said. I sat down. I put in the work to do a show tonight. I was ready to do a show, and I sat down and I just didn't feel it. And I was like, I can't cheat them. Can't do it. And I'm not feeling it. They're gonna know it. I'm gonna know it. And it was something as simple as your guys' show kind of inspired me to come on tonight. And it was just like that. I'm weird like that. I can't explain it. But that's all it was tonight. I didn't want to do a show because I'm like, I can't give an hour to the people tonight. I don't have it. And I came up here for an hour and a half. You know what I mean? It's weird. So like, yeah, exactly. So for me, I'm trying to be very careful with my words. For me, I feel like there's so much bad content out there. There's so many bad narratives out there. There's so many panicking people. There's so many live in the moment. Just that it just wasn't fun for me. It wasn't fun. You know what I mean? And the Dodgers were fun, not just because they were winning. I'm talking about the chat section, the baseball crew, like the conversations, the interactions, the shows with Joe. Like even at my darkest points of that Dodger run in the San Diego series, I was still doing shows, even at my darkest points. So it wasn't just like, oh, I'm a front runner. No, it's just like, I got to see this through, right? But I wasn't really. There's nothing that's grabbed me for basketball yet until the Luka trade. Nothing. There's nothing that could be done that could. I tried it. I did 2 shows. People were excited. I was back there. Message, oh, I'm happy you're back. I'm like, oh, this is ass. Like I suck. I'm like, this is no. I don't like what I'm doing right now, right? So I'm like, all right. And then I went back to baseball. Then the Luka trade happened, and it was just like, oh my God. And it's like that scene from The Hangover. It's like, we are back, right? And I'm just like, okay, just click. It felt good again. And I've been working on realigning my schedule post All-Star break based off of that. And then here I go. I sat down tonight to do a show and didn't feel it. You know what I mean? And it's probably because there was no games. There's nothing. There's no trade deadline we're up against. There's no summer free agency spending coming. There's no business of basketball to talk right now. So I'm like, let me just wait till tomorrow's game. Right? It's kind of where I went with it. Then came with you guys. So again, very long answer. But I would expect to see a whole lot more Laker content on my channel. I would expect to see some more segments on my channel. And I would expect for the first time, because I don't want to say the word help, but I'm lacking for I'm craving motivation in basketball. So I think for the first time on my show, I'm going to start doing panels, which is very rare for me. I don't really like them. Like I like controlled panels like this, right? So I'm gonna start doing something there. I already got the artwork done, and then I'm gonna merge my which I started to do last year, which was EPJ Sports Night, which is kind of a nightly sports talk show that I'm gonna cover Lakers and Dodgers on it. And I've already done kind of 2 like soft runs on it. It did fairly well. It's kind of a good vibe. I could take calls on it like a radio show. I can bring guests in for segments, something I'm building out. So Dodgers, Lakers, I feel like I'm going to be back, doing it. And definitely going to have you guys on there. You're going to see me on here more because I'm going to be more active. Even something like this, where a night where I just don't feel like doing a show, I can just come and babble away on your guys' show and have fun, So Empire Jeff TV, Put your notifications back on. I'm coming. It's coming. It's coming in. It's coming in hot. Just be ready. Just be ready.
I'll ask Joe to get another mic for you.
It was crazy. That's all it took. Like, because me and Joe had conversations about this, right? And I kept telling him, like, I was just like, it's something different when you hear yourself. It's about to knock mine through my face here. It's something different about when you hear yourself on your mic. Like when you hear the sound, like I said, the production value, you can hear the levels, you can hear everything. There's something that makes it radio-ish, right? And there's times I do my show without my headphones on because it's just me. And mainly because my puppy's a lunatic and sometimes he snatches my cord when I'm not paying attention, but I always prefer to hear myself, make sure your audio is good and all this. When I saw Joe make that step, I got excited for Joe. So I'm like, I got to pull up today. And that's all it took. It's weird. I'm a freaking weirdo. That's all it took.
Nick Molina gave me the thumbs up because he listened to it on the Apple feed and he said your sound was money.
Yeah, it's so much better.
And
so much better.
Everything in life needs to always advance. There's a timeline on it too sometimes, but a lot of times it's bullshit. Actually, it's just you're not focused enough on it. But I was sitting a few weeks ago, and I was like, dude, you got to get a mic. You got to get this thing done. And you got to start doing some things here, because it's coming. It's coming, and we want to be. Man, Gerald, how many hours have we put in the last 3 weeks?
Since the Luka trade, if you count that first episode,
dude, we did. Yeah. I think I did 9 hours that day. Did we?
Yeah, something like that. within a 24-hour period, we did something like.
Oh, okay. I thought you meant like 9. Okay, yeah, that was.
Yeah, probably it's the day because you're talking the Knicks post game is when it happened, so that was 3 hours. And then the day after, we did like 2-3 shows, within that period of time. Yeah, that was. Yeah, I think we did 30 hours. I think we've done over 40 hours in that range on this channel.
I got to tell you, like some of the, and most of the unscheduled shows are the best. Like that time when Joe decided to do a morning show for the Dodgers, just hit me up and said, "Let's do this." We had no preparation. We just ripped and ran with it, right? Like to me, those are always the best because it's just you're flowing in the moment. There was really no preparation for the show. It's your natural reaction. You're natural listening to that person's natural reaction. You're going back and forth. It's natural energy. It's organic energy. And those are the type of things that I feel like I do my best work at. That's why you guys will rarely ever see me schedule a show like hours in advance. I don't do that because I never know when I'm going to do one. And it's those are always the best. Didn't even know I was going to be on the show tonight. Loved every second of it. You know what I mean? Sometimes those are just, to me, some of the best around. But again, I'm a weirdo, like I said.
It's not weird. It comes down to the retention of the information that very few people have, and then being able to articulate it. That's not something everyone can do. Just not.
Yeah,
and dedicating the amount of hours to the games. I mean, this summer is going to be nuts. It's going to be nuts. But everything is being built for those moments because I believe that we're going to eventually be a primary in the content creation world. Should have happened a long time ago, but the problem was there's too many barriers with the old way of doing things. We as society think that things were better back in the day. In a lot of ways, there are a lot of things better back in the day, but there's a lot of things that are better now, especially this, because I wouldn't last in the radio world. I tried for a short amount of time. I tried, but I knew what was going to be there. I knew it would be some producer that tries to do something, and I would have thrown him out the window and would have left anyways. So why did I bother myself with it? Who's going to tell me what to do? Who? My parents didn't even tell me what to do, and they had more respect than anyone on the planet to me. Once they knew I wasn't a fuck up or a jerk off, they left me alone. That's it. So who the fuck are you? What are you going to tell me? Almost everybody I've met in my life that was in an authority position were all fuck ups. I ain't listen to you. What the fuck are you going to tell me? How to do my job? Why? Because you've been here longer than me? No, not going to do that. So here we are, building momentum. You want to know why I came on tonight, Jeff? Because the people asked. Even if it's just one. That matters. We're in the entertainment business. We are here to cater to the audience. It's something that a lot of these performers forget sometimes. Actors, singers, whatever. They forget that. And I understand that there are people out there that are psychopaths and get all up in your business. But you also have to understand that you should know by now what you're getting into. If you can't handle that stuff, then maybe you should go do something else. You can't have both. Because the reason why your pockets are being lined up is because of those psychopaths. Now that means you got to adapt to it. That I'm just, I'm being real here. So for us, if I'm not working, physically working, and it means we want people want a show, I'm doing a show. I can talk sports all day. It's what I do. It's who I am. I enjoy it. Yeah. And it's a revolving thing. The beautiful thing about this, it's not like talking about a movie that got made in 1990 or this thing changes every day. So there is that benefit in being able to have fresh material all the time. And as far as you not being up to snuff on a certain night, you want to be the best at the time you're doing it. That makes sense too. There's no wrong way to do that. There's no wrong way to do this, in my opinion. I think that there's a right way all the time to do it, just depending on how you want to do it. And for us, I think in the end here, something's going to hit at some point. I don't know when, but it's going to hit because I've seen enough programs out there, and I just don't think a lot of guys out there are better than us. I just don't think so.
There you have it. Can't say I disagree with these guys, but it is, of course, the Lakers.
That's funny, Aaron.
TV.
You're good, Aaron. I gotta talk to you one day, face to face.
There you go. It is, of course, the Lakers Fast Break. We'll be on tomorrow. Playback.tv/Lakers Fast Break for scoreboard and chat. Also on YouTube and Facebook as well. Empire Jeff. Again,
Jeff, you got a fix on spring training at all still?
I'm starting to do it. I'm trying. I'm doing my best. I'm trying.
Is there a chance you might not go?
There is a chance.
Okay.
I'm trying to minimize that chance.
Hey, don't feel the pressure, man. I get it, but I just wanted to know.
I really want to. I really want to. It's just, again, scheduling has been a mother.
It's okay. The reason why I'm asking is I'm flexible. So if something happens and you can't make it, it's okay. But if I would hate to go, because I can go anytime during spring training, right? But if you're like, hey, Joe, I'm sorry, I'm not going to be able to get there till the 7th, something like that.
Yeah, I was trying to line some up with where my family and my wife could all go, and it's been really, really tough to make that all happen. So it may just be something where I go myself, just my pops or a buddy of mine. It's not going to be my whole family like I thought. It's just too hard to line it up with everything going on. So there's just so many different ways. I still really want to go, and I'm still really trying to make it happen. So the door is not closed. I'm just trying to carve out the timing and to make it work. I got a lot of kind of a lot of big things happening at the same time, and stuff that I've been working on for a long time, and things kind of started to happen, and I'm like, it's a good thing to have, but I really want to go to spring training at the same time. So
dude, it's a walk. It's a long walk, but it's a walk from my family's place. I was there just this last week. I actually passed by where they're playing. It was in the evening time because I was going to go see my other cousin. But it's right there, dude. So I have a place to stay like 5 minutes away.
Oh man,
and I mean, I could kick it there for 2-3 days, do whatever we need to do. I think it'd be fun just to, because that whole area is fun. It's actually a cool place to hang out. I've gone to Arizona Cardinal games when the Steelers were in town. I've went to the mall there. I mean, it's a really good atmosphere.
Yeah. No, it is. And
The excitement, man. The excitement, dude. I don't
know.
Dude, even seeing Glass now today, talking about how he has a fix on making sure he's got as good of a chance to finish the season. Just seeing that clip was just making me go. It was like, man, dude, just can you fast forward to April?
I think people forget about him. like I just,
we keep forgetting about Glass though.
Yeah. That's what I'm saying. It's oh man, I'm getting excited here. But so I'm gonna do I'm gonna commit to do a Lakers show and a Dodger show this week. So I'm gonna knock both of them out.
Well, there you go. And
Gerald,
please like and subscribe. Yes,
we'll be here tomorrow to do the
same bad time, same bad channel.
I might pull up to you guys playback tomorrow. I might, since I'm gonna try to get kind of ease back into
we
it.
need to get. By the way, folks, we need to get the playback as much as we can. We need a steady 50 on there, even though 30 of them aren't going to be able to watch the game through it, so that we can get more VIPs. I think that's a stupid ass rule by playback, man.
What I hate about what I dislike about what I dislike about the playback situation. I've talked to them about it numerous times. What I don't like about it is, even if you have, so before it was, if you were a creator, you can go in anyone's room and watch as a creator. They took that away now. So now creators have to get passes from other creators, right? So you got creators in there, showing support and doing all this stuff, but you got to give away to them. So that takes away from the crowd. Second is, if you have league pass, it's the stupidest rule in streaming. If you have league pass and you pull up to playback, you can't. Laker fans can't watch even with league pass. I told them, why don't you let us log in with our cable companies like any other platform does? Like, if you have it on your DirecTV, on your Spectrum, whatever it is, you log in with your cable provider, you watch it live just like you would. But playback isn't slick. What they're doing is, you know what playback is? Like, do you know where playback came from? So playback is watch party. For those who have had NBA League Pass in the past, there is this thing called watch party, where you and your friends could come in and watch one stream in like a Zoom room type thing. The only difference was you couldn't broadcast it to the internet. And you'd have your own room. You'd watch the game with your buddies. You'd go back and forth. There's a chat. And then what the NBA did was they got playback to make it its own platform to sell League Pass. That's what it's for. And then you got a bunch of people buying League Pass, including Laker fans, and they can't watch their local teams with it. It's a flawed system. Playback was designed to take over Watch Party from NBA.com and the NBA app to sell League Pass, and then tell a bunch of people you couldn't watch. And that's where their flaw is. And they've got to get that right, or they got to make it to where you can log in with your cable provider. Point blank, period. How many of these things do you watch? If you watch ESPN on the phone, if you want to watch the ESPN game or the TNT game, you log in with your cable provider if you have those channels, and you can do it. Playback needs to make that happen. They had
it like that. They changed it.
Because the NBA. So what I'm saying is, playback's main revenue stream is to sell League Pass. That's why this year you got the promo codes, you got all these different things. It's all about League Pass. That's all it is. And until they make it about the actual thing they're trying to sell it as, which is the community, it's not going to be what it could be, because we're just there to sell League Pass for them. And it sucks. I loved it. I loved it in the beginning. But like I said, when we were able to give away those, and then creators can come in and watch, and then you had creators in the chat because they could watch without giving away the tickets, and then the platform just hasn't grown out. But if you're not going to let local people, how are you going to do a Laker stream? A Laker stream, try to grow your channel to get 4 or 5, 6, whatever 100 people in there, and no one can watch with you outside of the 20 you gave it to. Right. How are you going to, it just doesn't work long term. It's not scalable. You got a bunch of people watching different streams at different parts of the chat, quoting different parts of the game. It defeats the purpose.
It's the delay too. Some of these, for example, the thing that sucks is when it's on TNT, it's delayed on my TV. Yeah. So I'm sitting there watching the game like this,
Yeah.
My eyes
It's
getting all
not-
jacked up versus
Well,
when it's on Sportsnet and I can slow it down.
It's going to be slower than the real. That's going to happen no matter what. But if they, like I said, if you had 500 people pull up to your room, whether they had, like I said, Spectrum, Xfinity, DirecTV, whatever it is if they had the Laker channel on their plan and could log in and watch it, the sky's the limit for the creator. You have 500 people in your room. They're limiting, and when you think about it, well, we'll talk about it. But I'm saying it's the system is flawed. I love playback. Like I love the idea of it, what it's supposed to be. They just haven't gotten there yet.
Well, however flawed it may be, which I'm not going to say I disagree with you guys because I have seen it from its infancy to what it is now. And yeah, it's not what it once was. I'll just leave it at that. But you can join us for the scoreboard and chat. And, you know, for those who are looking for a VIP, we may be able to give one out to you. It is going to be playback.tv/Lakers Fast Break. So for Empire Jeff TV, please like and subscribe. And for Joe Soro, it's Cheryl Glassford. Thanks again for everybody to watch and listen to us here at the Lakers Fast Break. And don't forget the best post game that's out there, best stuff that's out there, the best Lakers programming is out there. You can find an Empire Jeff, Dodgers, Lakers, and also you can find a lot of it right here at the Lakers Fast Break podcast.
Hello, everyone.